I don't care if you're just starting out on YouTube or if you've been doing this for a long time, there's only 3 cameras you should ever consider using for the most part, okay? And those are, it's really simple. And honestly, you can use them at every level depending on how much investment or lack of investment you want to make. But the first one is, it's got to be, I hate to say it, but your cell phone. Your cell phone probably makes a great camera that you can use to record with, you can walk around with, you can do all sorts of blogging. My cell phone right now, it's an iPhone 16 Pro. It's set up on the side. Literally, it is sitting on a toolbox, on another box, in a holder. It's right here. In fact, just to show you, it's, oh, there's some picture-in-picture, huh? This is my cell phone, all right? And it does just a fine job. But let's go back to the main camera. So the point here is this. Cameras have come a long way. When I first started, I started with a $100 webcam, which back then was considered a corporate level webcam, and it was not good. I had a mid-tier at best Motorola G phone, and I managed to get content out and grow a channel. Now, can you do this now? Well, if your content's good enough, honestly, people don't care. The truth is, video is secondary to sound. In fact, we're going to be covering in this series here, we're going to be doing video, we're going to be doing sound, we're going to be doing lighting. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you want me to cover next. But I'm going to talk about the equipment I own, what I use. Cell phone's number one, and I'm going to recommend an iPhone. And the reason for the iPhone is, A, it just works. It's simple. You can transfer, if you're running a Mac, you can just sit there and go, AirDrop and send it right over. In fact, if you're not running a Mac, you're running a PC, because I ran a PC for years with an iPhone. There's several apps out there. The one I liked is called LandDrop. It's totally free, and it basically does an AirDrop from your iPhone to your PC exactly the same way. Not quite as fast, but close enough. But here's the other issue. You got to be using OBS. Do you know what OBS is? OBS Studio. It is what lets you do stuff like where you can pan back and forth. Like, you ever watch the news and they bring up the picture-in-picture and they're talking about the guy here who was the place they're looking for or whatever, or what the weather is and that kind of stuff, and they bring it up next to them? That is a studio management software. OBS does all of that. Best of all, it's free. I'll be doing another video on the basics of OBS. I'm not going to do an in-depth one because I don't use all that much of it. I use just enough to get by, and brother, I'm getting by on my main channel, over 300,000 subscribers, so I'm doing something right. Lord knows what it is. But the fact is that if you have an iPhone, it links directly to OBS. Like, as soon as I open up OBS, my iPhone goes, do you want to connect it as a webcam? And I can just hit yes, and I can stream right to it. So your cell phone should be your starting camera, unless you got specialty stuff that you want to do, or maybe you just want to invest more to kick it off and to get there sooner, because I'll be honest, a good crisp image, it does help a little bit, okay? It makes people think that, you're serious about this kind of thing. The camera you want to think about next is considered the default camera for YouTube, and that is the Sony ZV-E10. Now, I've had this for years. This was actually going from my main camera to, my webcam and cell phone setup. This was my first real camera that I used, and this is the exact same one. It's got a screen that pops out, flips around. You can put it on a tripod. You can see what's going on. It's got microphone inputs. It's got HDMI out. By the way, you want clean HDMI out, which means if you ever opened up looked at a camera and you see all the information on the back. Let me see if I can turn this on real quick. And you see all the information. No, I need to have a battery in it. You see all the information. It comes up and it shows you, like, how much battery life and all that kind of stuff. You don't want any of that on your screen. So you want clean HDMI out so it looks just like this. That's what this is doing, okay? And honestly, this is a camera that can do you for years. There's still people who've got 1 million subscribers who are doing just fine with this camera. In fact, this is the first version. There's now a second version. It's slightly more expensive. You can get a refurbed version of this for $750. Now, mind you, That's the camera only, all right? And I don't have a problem with refurbished. I've bought a lot of refurbished gear. Amazon's got a refurbished program. They certify these people. They have, Amazon, backs it up and stuff. So make sure it's part of the Amazon refurbished program kind of stuff. And I'm going to put links to some of this down below, and it's all Amazon refurbished program. And then also like new stuff as well. And then one thing I always do is I always put a cage around these. So this is an aftermarket cage. This is my, who is this? Newer. There's small rig. There's a couple other ones. And what that does is not only does it let you mount stuff on it, it protects against impacts as well. And that's the real reason why I like to use it. You got full base and everything else. And it also allows you to mount it. Like you want to mount it vertically, it's got the mounting points right there. So you can put it on a tripod. You can mount vertically if you want to do shorts, you want to do Instagram, stuff like that. And then you can just tip it straight over. So you can film your content back to back and not have to completely set up a whole new thing. If you want to take it up to the next step, some people are going to tell you you should be looking at a Sony A600 or the 6 something. And I'm going to say no. They're good cameras. They're better photography cameras, I think, than they are video cameras. And they have an overheating issue. This will overheat too. If you have it in a really hot room or out in the sun and you have it running for like a half an hour or so, it will, and you're running 4K. Basically, if you're running all the features at the highest resolution and it's warm, you can overheat, almost any of these cameras today, regardless of the brand. Sony has a little bit more of a problem with it in that they're super compact and such, but there's a feature you can go in, you can turn on basically like run it hotter than the safety mechanism. And I've never had a problem with them getting damaged that way. I also don't leave them like out in the sun in Phoenix or something like that, so they'll probably be fine. But if you want to step up, ignore I hate to say this, I hate being that person. You're gonna go to a truly professional camera, and that is the Sony FX30. This is a cinema grade camera. Now it's still an APS-C rather than a full frame. Now, if you guys don't understand what a full frame camera is, it's the lens, not the lens, the sensor in there is a full size frame, and an APS-C is a slightly cut down frame, which for still photography is something you want to take into consideration. But for video, especially video that's going to get compressed when you put it through your thing and then you upload it, it's getting compressed, and then YouTube's going to take it, put their own compressor. By the time it gets to you through YouTube, it doesn't matter. I've looked at tons and tons of footage from full frame versus this, unless you're filming like super sexy like food shots or glamour, like you're teaching people how to do photography kind of stuff. That's when you need the full frame. Everything else, this is the camera for you. In fact, I know lots of pros who do this. I've got a buddy up here in Montana who does like high-end destination wedding photography. And this is what he uses as well, right? You don't need full frame for that. The nicest thing about this though, is it's got a feature that none of these other cameras have. It's got internal cooling. Basically air intake on the bottom, output on the side. I don't think I've got that reversed. Maybe I do. Point is, it's got a cooling fan built in. It will never overheat. I've left this thing, I went on vacation, left it on for 2 weeks, came back, it's totally fine. That's the best thing about this camera. You can set it and forget it. Now, I don't recommend doing that, but I do forget a lot of times to turn them on and off. I like to have my camera set up in my studio, in my workspace here, and leave them there. And then I turn them on when I need them, turn them off when I'm done. In fact, I have them hardwired in my computer. I don't even use memory cards. I don't use batteries. It's all like a stationary. Basically, I set it up as a studio, like a professional, TV style studio. I don't ever pull a battery or pull a memory card. It all pipes directly into my computer through OBS. And then as soon as I hit record on my computer, and I got my files when I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. It's all about compacting that workflow. But this camera right here that you're looking at is a Sony FX30. When I wanted to add a second camera, which I'm going to be doing shortly, I bought a refurbished Sony FX30. Now this is new. It's like $2,100. Used, I'm going to say it's like $1,700 or $1,800. I have it up here somewhere. I'm going to put, as I said, I'm going to put links down below. It's $1,642 used for the renewed, from the Amazon renewed program. I can't say enough about this camera. If you want to be serious about doing video and you're going to be doing it online, this is the camera. It's got, you know, rather than little rubber doors that come off, it's got hard doors on it. It's got once you have it in hand, you'll understand. It's just a beast of a camera. I can't say enough about it. But if you're just getting started, this is the camera for you. Now, lenses, real quick, just like I said, there's basically the Sony cameras, and that's about it. Well, it's the Sigma lenses, and that's about it. This is the Sigma, I think this is the 35. I think it's the 35. So there is a 16, I know I'm going to misspeak on this. So the 16, which is what you're looking at right now, gives you that nice wide field of view and gives you that fuzzy bokeh where things fall off in the background, all right? Then, and that you get that from a super low f-stop. 1.4 is what this is at. Then you have, this is a 30 millimeter. It's at 1.4. And then their next one up is the 56 millimeter, which is at 1.4 also. So you're still going to get that bokeh on all three of them. And the reason to do this, to use these three, isn't necessarily so that you can zoom in or tell the prime lenses, there's no zoom. Not so you can get closer over there. It's so you can take your camera and put it further back. There's a YouTuber, I can't remember his name. I really like him. He films from 20 feet away because he likes the way it sets up. And the further the camera is back, the more bokeh you get. You can have no idea what's behind them. It's just color blobs. And it's kind of a cool effect. And if that's what you want to go for, then go for that. But these are the three cameras. Those are the three lenses. You can't go wrong with any of them. If you got any questions, put it down below. I will try to answer them. Again, start with your cell phone. Your cell phone's great. You can do all sorts of stuff, and it will do it just fine. This is a great tool. But when you're ready to step up, you're going to want to go Sony because that's where all the support is. Because everyone else on YouTube, 90% of the people on YouTube are probably using Sonys. So when you have problems, the community is going to be there to help you up. All right, let me know what video you want next. Put it down below in the comments. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.